Alright, we're here with Bald Yoda.
What's up?
that's Bald Yoda. Today we're trying to fit a hydraulic handbrake to the 350. Still got some It's getting done, you reckon?
This one's getting done.
I don't know. For anyone who doesn't know, we put a hydraulic handbrake in the 86 about a year and a half ago, maybe? And we never actually got it hooked up to any calipers because PBM, still waiting for the rear knuckles from them that have got extra caliper mounts. So hurry up and get them out, please. But yeah, we're still waiting for that, so we're going to crack on with the 350, which should be a lot easier because there's already mounting brackets. Plenty of mounting brackets available for the 350. This is one of them. So hopefully we've got everything we need. We've got all the fixings for extra calipers. We've got the handbrake, which is fucking tall. We've got some brake line, we've got unions, we've got a reservoir, we've got all sorts. So the plan is that we're going to have an extra caliper sat here, and then the hydraulic handbrake will operate that, and it'll be a separate hydraulic line and everything. So that's the plan. Whether or not it actually happens today, I'm not so sure. Bald Yoda's very confident. I'm not so sure, but I guess you'll find out. So yeah, let's give it a go. Right, I should explain. The reason why we're taking all the anti-roll bars and the diff and everything off is so that we can route the brake lines a bit nicer, because the stock brake lines come down here and go up and over the fuel tank, so we want to do the same. So Bald Yoda had the brilliant idea of taking everything on the fucking car off to get the fuel tank, so that we can drop the fuel tank basically. We've just got the diff and the prop shaft and everything out, and yeah, what's next? Just keep taking more and more stuff off.
Take that out.
Heat shield.
Drop the flow brace off. Yep. Pull the tank out.
Which,
then,
you think that's going to be fairly straightforward? I'm not so sure. No? Oh, that's not what you told me a minute ago. Fuck's sake. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes.
Getting into the idea.
Yeah, you told me this would be a 5-minute job, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Everything's a 5-minute job with Bald Yoda. Never is. Okay, so we've run out of time for today. Bald Yoda's got to go back. I'm not going to be able to do much more on my own, I don't think. So we're kind of calling it quits for today. But we will carry on, obviously, and you'll see the rest of that in this video. But I'll run you through what we've done so far, where we've got to, any problems that we encountered. And we'll just a quick summary, because I don't know how much we actually filmed throughout the day. Probably not a lot as usual. But as you can tell, at the moment, we've taken most of the fucking rear of the car apart, because there's no rear subframe anymore. That is down here. Rear subframe and all the knuckles and everything is down here. Taking the exhaust off, heat shield for the fuel tank, some brackets, diff, the prop shaft, and the fuel tank is kind of half hanging off. Basically all of this was so that we can do it kind of properly. Like, as much as we give Bald Yoda some shit for being a bit sketchy sometimes, he does like to do things properly and do it kind of as, you know, best practice as you can. So this is all rough at the moment. You'll have to forgive the kind of squiggly bends. We've just kind of done it to get a rough idea of where everything's going. But basically we've got the line up there, which I don't know if you can see, comes in through the cabin. That's right next to the handbrake, the stock handbrake I mean. That basically is going to come off the hydraulic handbrake. And then it comes down there. And yes, I know there's a massive fucking hole in the chassis rail there, but we'll sort that soon. So that's going to come down here, and this is the bit that's made us sort of take a lot of time, is getting it up and over the fuel tank with the stock brake lines. So it goes up and over there. You can't really see very well, but you can see the new line goes over there. So that's why it's been a pain, is because we had to actually lower the fuel tank to be able to get up and in there. And then, I don't know if you can see very well, but it comes round up there, and then this is as far as we've got for today. It stops there. It's going to go into a T-piece there, basically. And then that's going to split off one to each brake caliper. So there'll be extra brake calipers. I don't know if I've explained this yet, but there'll be extra brake calipers on each hub. Oh, that's one other thing actually, the brackets that I've got. These things, I think I already mentioned this briefly, but yeah, they don't fit particularly well. And there's still going to be a slight problem with the stock handbrake as well. So thankfully, Steve got back to me really quickly and said that he's willing to sell me his slightly better ones, or hopefully they're better. Yeah, so he's going to sell me his, and I'm just going to pay him back or buy him another set. So big thank you to Steve for sorting that out. So I'm going to go down tomorrow and pick them up, and hopefully they will fit a lot nicer and we won't have any issues with the stock handbrake either. But yeah, that's all we've got done today. We've probably spent about 6 or 7 hours, something like that, getting to this far, something like that. So yeah, it's going to take a few more hours to get finished, but the only real problem we've had is that we broke, well, Board Yoda broke these, I can't know if you can see, but there's like an extra stud in there, and this is what holds the anti-roll bar on as well. But we managed to break one on either side, so there's now one missing on both sides, which is not ideal. And also, because this is aluminium, we can't just weld a new one in either, and we can't get in there to press a new one in. So yeah, not quite sure what we're going to do with that, but we'll figure something out. So yeah, that's it for now. I guess the next thing you'll see will be tomorrow or whenever we next get a chance to work on it, and we'll just kind of carry on from where we are. Alright, so Steve very kindly sold me his brackets. I've bought a replacement set that I'm going to give to him as soon as they turn up, but this means that we can get it done a lot quicker. I don't think they would have turned up in time if I just ordered them, because I'm pretty sure they're coming from America. So yeah, it would take a while to get here. But these definitely are a lot better than the ones that I had before. This is the one that I had before, and you can see, hopefully you can see the different shape in the cutouts up there, which this one doesn't actually catch on the hub like the other ones did. So I'll leave a link in the description, like I said, to Steve's channel, and also to the place that I bought these from, or that Steve bought these from, and where I ordered the replacements from, because these are definitely a lot better than the other ones. These, as you can see, I've got one set up here, and they don't catch on the hub at all. You probably can't actually see down there, but it's all set up. Both calipers sit nicely. I do need to get the dust guard, or stone guard, whatever you call it, on there, just to space it out properly. But yeah, so far so good. And also as a bonus, these also have a little bit at the bottom that helps keep the stock handbrake in place. Now the other problem we had was that we broke some of the studs off that were pressed in here that hold the anti-roll bar on. So the plan for them at the moment is to use these captive nuts or rivet nuts or whatever you call them, and basically put one of them up inside there. It's not quite big enough at the moment, but I'll drill it out a little bit to make it fit. And then you sort of pull that back on itself. It's kind of weird, it like folds over on itself, and it basically just creates like a thread that you can bolt something into. For now though, I'm just going to tidy this subframe up a bit, because it's looking a little bit gross and horrible, isn't it? And while it's out, why not? Alright, so I got bored of cleaning the subframe pretty quickly. It's better than it was. Like I say, it'll do. I'm not going for like a shiny mirror finish or anything. There's still some bits I need to finish off around there, but it'll do. Next job is to get this to actually fit. This is a StopTech braided steel line for the brakes, and it's meant to go on the stock brake line. So as you can see, that would normally go in there, and then the other end goes into the caliper. The problem is though, this end, we've got like no idea what kind of fitting that is or anything. It's a bit of a weird, massive fitting. So what we're going to do is just hack that off and replace it with this. So we'll have the copper line coming from the master cylinder. It's going to go like that. I'll have this little thing. I should point out as well that I've never done anything with brake lines before, so I could be getting all this wrong. And it took me ages to figure out exactly which bits to order and everything, all the fittings. So hopefully everything is actually right, but we'll see. So yeah, that would go on there. We'll flare the end of that, and then that will go in there. Then once we've chopped this off, that little olive will go in there, and then that will sit on top of it, and then that screws onto there. So that's what we're going for. Let's have a go. Right, quick update. We were nearly there. We were just doing the very last thing, bleeding the lines. We've got the hydro in and everything, as you've seen. We've got the brake reservoir mounted in a temporary location, haven't we? Yeah. It was going to be a lot of work to try and get it done, because the drift day is tomorrow. In true, like, last minute style, the drift day is tomorrow. So just to temporarily get it working, we just mounted it inside the cabin somewhere. So yeah, then we started bleeding the brakes, and it was all going well. And then you put quite a lot of pressure on it. Well, not loads, but a fair bit of pressure on the handle to pump it, and there was a big bang. And this happened. The line that I did, not the one that Bold Yoda did, he's very happy about that. He's very happy about that. It wasn't his lines. If that'll focus, you probably can't see because it won't focus, but basically I kind of fucked up when I did the braided line bit. So that's what happened. That's split open, brake fluid went everywhere, and now we're fucked. Alright, so Bold Yoda's gone, and we've now got literally a couple of hours before I need to head to the hotel for the drift day. So we're going to have one last ditch attempt at sorting this out. Basically what went wrong, let me just explain in more detail what went wrong with this, so that anyone else doesn't make the same mistake if you're doing the same thing. Right, so I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see any of this, but basically that plastic or Teflon line inside there has split. And we think the reason for this is because when I was putting the olive on, basically you pull all these braids back, and then you put the olive over the top, like in between the plastic line inside and the braids, and then you use this to sort of clamp it all shut. And basically I trimmed a load of the braids off after I'd sort of pulled them back, because I didn't think they were important at all. Once you pulled them back, I thought you were just getting them out of the way so you can put the olive on. But it turns out they are kind of part of it. Like, you need to like have the braids in between the olive and this. So I'll show you on the next one that I do. Hopefully I can do it properly this time. And yeah, it'll make a bit more sense once I show you that. Alright, so hopefully you can see that there is like a plastic inner core there, and then the braided bit around the outside. So we've got to separate the two, but keep the braided bit and not just trim it off like I did. Right, so now that we've got the fitting on and then pulled all the braid apart, I nearly forgot to put the fitting on first. Could have been a problem. And put the olive in there. So what I did wrong last time was I trimmed these braided bits off because they were just getting in the way, whereas you're actually supposed to leave them on and then clamp this over the top of them. So let's do it properly this time. Right, so that's all tightened up now, so we should be good to go. Hopefully this one won't burst. This is also a shorter line as well with a different end fitting, so it should be a little bit more suitable for what we're trying to use. Let's go, let's test it out. Alright, I've spent the last like hour and a half bleeding the brakes, and there's still quite a bit of air coming out. I've got through like 3 litres of brake fluid, and there's still quite a few bubbles. I've checked for leaks and everything, and there's no leaks anywhere that I can see. So I think it just needs a lot of bleeding, but I've kind of given up on it now. I'm running out of time. Like, I literally was supposed to leave for the hotel about 20 minutes ago, and I haven't even packed anything up yet. So I'll put everything back together. I'm just going to go and just do a quick run around the block and just see if the hydro actually works, and then yeah, we're just going to have to do the drift day and see what state it's in basically. It's probably going to need a lot more bleeding when I get back, but it might be usable. We'll see. I also just want to like make sure everything actually works on the back of the car, considering we've had everything off the rear of the car over the last few days. So yeah, I'm kind of skeptical that we've put everything back together properly, but we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, let's go test drive it, see how it goes. Okay, so it works, but you've got to pull it pretty fucking hard and quite a long way back. Like, that's doing nothing there, and then now it's starting to have an effect, and you've got to pull it really hard to actually get it to do anything, which I'm assuming is just because there's still a lot of air in the system. I'm going to just have to set off for the hotel now anyway, and try and sort it out when I get back from the drift day, I guess. So we'll do it with it kind of half working as it is at the moment, and hopefully it'll be better than nothing, but we'll see. The amount of stuff that flies around in the back. This is not a good time to be testing this. Let's just give up on testing this. I wanted to at least get some clips for you guys so you can see it working now, rather than having to wait until the next drift day video. But with all this stuff in the back, it is horrendous. Like, wheels are hitting me in the back, the jack is flying around in the boot, and I'm conscious that we've got the reservoir back here, so don't want a wheel or anything to fly into that. So I'm afraid gonna have to give it up, and that's all you're gonna see for this video. But like I said before, Jesus Christ, so bumpy. Like I said before, I'm on my way to a drift day now, so there will be a full video from that, where I'll obviously be using that quite a bit. So you'll get to see it working, but that's all you're going to see for now, I'm afraid. So yeah, I'll see you in the drift day video, which should be out a couple of days after this one.